Hey, guys, and otherwise, I'm Jonathan O. Roselion.
And I am Noah, probably better known as Polyphonic.
Oh, that's who you are.
Yeah.
I knew that voice.
And you're listening to Horns and Wings, the podcast where we read through Saga issue by issue, except this week we're not reading through an issue. So the tagline, the line doesn't work, John.
Well, good thing you didn't say it for the last two episodes. You said it for this one. No, we're reading off we're going to be discussing your answers to the questions of the week. We're going to go through some behind the scenes stuff, some back matter stuff from the books themselves. We're going to be getting into it. It's going to be a fun bonus ep between the arcs here. So let's jump in. All right, what is this thing? What are we doing, Noah?
I don't know. You're the one. I know nothing. I just show up and talk, and you do all the work.
This is actually an intervention. You really need to start saying where we read Saga issue by issue at the beginning of the episodes. No, we're gonna be. This is something that we wanted to start reading those question of the week answers at the end of episodes, but those things are already the longest things. So we wanted to have just these between the arcs episodes, because also there's just a bunch of stuff we want to expand on and talk about, and there's not enough time.
And it's good to just take a moment to breathe in between the arcs, because Saga flies by so fast.
It really does.
So much happens. It's nice to take a minute and reflect on how far we've come thus far.
So we're going to take a moment of silence here for about 3 minutes and just really appreciate what we have in life and in Saga.
We're going to slip in a performance of 433. That's a little music joke for all of you who know my YouTube channel.
We're going to you know what? I think I want to start out with
this is a fucking mess.
This is great, dude. This is great.
Real dynamic content.
No, this one I'm actually very excited to go into, because the first segment we're going to be doing here is I'm going to call it Back Matters. And you know what? Theme song. There you go. Ooh. I gotta have, this is what's gonna keep people on it with this episode, is nothing but theme songs for every segment. So Back Matters, we're gonna be going through. I went back and read the back matters, or the like sort of essays and stuff, and listener or reader questions and letters and stuff at the end of every Saga issue for this arc, which I get the feeling not a lot of people have seen, because especially with the first arc, so many people were introduced to this through the trade paperback that doesn't have the back matter stuff in it. So
count me in on that. I didn't really read the back matters until I think when I first started reading Saga, there was 4 trades out, and then I bought issues after that. So I did not encounter it until I was already deep into my Saga fandom.
Yeah, same. I have the first 3 volumes that I have not seen the back matter for. And usually it's one of those things where it's like, if I don't have time to read it, I'd say like half the ones I do own, I probably haven't read the back matter on. Yeah. And it's just like, oh, I'll go back to this eventually. But yeah, so this was totally new to me. And you know, I went back, I spent hundreds of dollars getting the first printings of every book, and didn't go to an illegal site to read these. It was all totally for real. I owned so many versions of this book already. Don't give me shit for that. And immediately, first issue, we get something that I feel like is a gold mine of knowledge here, in that we learn Phonographic's name.
Oh,
is mentioned in the back matter. If you had to guess what Phonographic's name was, Noah, it's I think it's a little obvious based off of what you know about Phonographics. What would you guess his real name in real life is?
I mean, I'm just gonna play the odds and say Muhammad.
Yeah, yes. That is Muhammad Phonographic. Very close, very close. Stephen Finch. So, Stephen, I'm still going to call you Phonographics. I'm never going to call you Stephen again. But thank you for putting out some I feel like we need to get more into phonographics lettering on this because it is fantastic. It's so good, so easy to read. We talked about the subtle changes with the robots.
Yeah, and I think that's something that flies under the radar sometimes with Saga, because a lot of people that come to Saga aren't typical comics readers, right? We've talked about that a little bit. It brings people into comics, and appreciation of good lettering work is something that I think it takes some time and it takes some understanding of comics to really know what makes lettering so great and why it's so important to tying a story together.
Yeah. It's so integral, and so it is amazing if you look back and just looking at the lettering, how much information, how much world building is done through the font choice, and even like, the color blue for the horned language and stuff like that. It's good stuff, and Stephen's killing it.
Good job, Stephen.
Mr. Finch.
Yeah, I'm gonna dedicate this episode to you, Mr. Finch.
Yeah. I'm gonna dedicate someone else. I'm still holding on to mine, but you do whatever you want now. And also from issue 1, we get the gem from Brian K. Vaughan has forced a catchphrase upon Fiona Staples, which is, "You can't make comics without Staples." And I think it's a real beaut.
Yeah, real dad joke, which is, I mean, fitting. This is really about Brian K. Vaughan coming into dadhood, so he needs to assume the mantle of dad jokes.
This is his workshop for it, which I will say, honestly, it is such a blast to actually read the back matter because his writing is so thoroughly entertaining. There are parts of reading it where I'm just like, I feel like his writing is at its best in the back matter, like outside of the comic too. Like, it is just so entertaining. And you know what? I think he might even make a good special guest. So that's why we're excited to welcome.
No.
Brian K. Vaughan, hop on.
No, don't.
Oh, he hung up.
We'll try to get him back later.
It's a bad connection here in Ohio. Well, I didn't mention that. If my audio sounds terrible, I'm coming to you from sunny, beautiful Northeast Ohio. So if you hear any birds chirping or cows mooing or lawn mowing, blame it on that.
And if my audio sounds terrible, it's because I have a terrible audio setup.
There you go. We also, okay. So this is, let's get into something that I'm really pumped to get into, because this is an annual thing for Saga. A lot of Saga readers know about this, and it is, as of issue 2 was the first one. I didn't know this. The Saga Reader Survey, which is where Brian K. Vaughan just asks a bunch of random ass questions for people to write in and answer. And so this is how he took up the back matter pages, or it's called "To Be Continued" is the name of the back matter in the book. But with this quick 25 quick questions survey, so I don't want to dwell too much on anything. But you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do the Saga Reader Survey. It's not too intrusive.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah,
that's fun.
Let's learn about us a bit. We're always talking about this lame book. Let's get to the meat of this. What people are really here for. Us.
Our charming personalities. And crystal clear audio.
That's nothing but production value and insightful things, and no one saying every 3 seconds at all. Oh, God damn it. I'm gonna keep doing it.
All right. Let's hit us with these.
I have a broken brain.
Let's get this train going.
Noah.
Yes.
If you don't mind me asking, how old are you? I'm gonna have to do math on this.
25. I'm 25. I'm 26 later this year. I was born in the grand old year of 1993. I think Meatloaf was at the top of the charts when I was born. I think I checked that out once or something like that. How about you, Mr. O'Rose Lyin?
That whole Irish name. If you had here, I think top of the charts for me was Whitney Houston. If you had to guess what year, I'm actually stalling. Okay, so hold on. It's 2019. See, here's the thing.
Yes.
Us, the younger listeners out there.
Just tell me what year you were born.
In 1991. This is what we're working
right.
backwards from August August 1991. 27. I figured it out. You listeners out there, just the younger ones, just understand that once you hit 21, then your age is nothing but a reason to be depressed. And you never need to remember it for anything. 25, you can rent a car and you're good. So those are the major milestones in your life. And then like now I have no reason to remember how old I am at all whatsoever.
Yeah, once you're out of school, also, like, you don't have any metric of keeping track of time. So I'm pretty sure I've been like 22 for 4 years.
Yeah, no, when I saw this question, I'm like, 23 sounds right. So apparently that's been my response for the last 4 years. So 27, 25. So I'm the elder of the group. Hey, where are you from? That's a good question.
So I'm originally from Ottawa, Ontario, beautiful city. I've also lived in Beijing, and currently I live in Vancouver.
I'm sorry, Beijing?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
This is accidentally interesting.
When I was a teenager, I lived in Beijing for 3 years.
That's crazy.
Because of my mother's work.
Cool.
Yeah.
I thought you were like Batmaning it or something. You were learning some secret art.
No. The only secret art I was learning was how to breathe in smog and take years off my life.
There you go. I was born in Florida, raised in Ohio, lived in Toronto for a bit. So that's why I can speak Noah.
Yeah, Canada connection.
And I am currently residing in St. Louis. It's a good place. What are you reading these days?
I actually just last night went by the comic book shop and picked up a good old load of stuff. So I last night read Sherlock Frankenstein, which is a kind of spin-off from Jeff Lemire's Black Hammer.
Oh, cool.
I may or may not have extolled the virtues of Jeff Lemire from time to time. And then I also picked up his Royal City, the second and third trades, which I haven't read yet. And I picked up Private Eye by Brian K. Vaughan,
nice.
which I have yet to read.
Yeah, let me know how you like that.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. And outside of the comics world, I'm working my way through the Expanse series.
Nice.
And I'm also reading a really cool anthology called The Future is Female, which is about it's an anthology of female sci-fi, but early female sci-fi. It ends at Ursula Le Guin. So it starts in the 20s. The best story in it so far is The Black God's Kiss by C.L. Moore, which everyone should read. It's this weird kind of proto-Lovecraftian cosmic horror thingy. It's brilliant.
Nice.
I've started saying brilliant a lot. It's a problem.
Well, boy, do I have a podcast for you. I'm reading. I'm doing so much. I feel like all my reading is for research at this point. So I'm reading Saga. I'm reading, I just read the 33 and a third book for In the Airplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel, which is such a fascinating, there's so much mythology surrounding the making of that album. So to get to the actual, like, still hyper fascinating truth of it, but I've heard so many urban legends about the making of that album growing up. And so it's so interesting to see what was bullshit and what wasn't.
This is off brand. Mm-hmm. You ask what I'm reading and I say a bunch of comics and you're reading a music book. We've messed this all right up.
Life swap. And I also, this is the most on brand thing for me. I've been reading the Steven Universe art book.
Okay, we're back to normal now. That's okay.
Number 4, do you buy your funny books from your friendly neighborhood retailer or from an online site like Comixology?
Always my friendly neighborhood retailer.
Cool. Do you want to give a shout out to your a comic shop anywhere?
I really liked Rocket Comics in Ottawa and also the Comic Book Shop in Ottawa, which was the name of the biggest comic book shop in Ottawa. Mm-hmm. And I don't know the name of the place I go here, but it's really, really awesome. It's on Granville Street.
Track it down.
I guess I have the technology to look at. Granville Street.
You're giving them a detective
shop.
Adventure mystery to do now. Like, give them the
Golden Age Collectibles. Okay. I was in there last night. Wonderful place. Really great collection of comics, really great people.
Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and shout out Star Clipper in St. Louis. That's where I get all my comics. They're the absolute best. Please support your comic shop. Don't do Amazon if you can avoid it.
Also, I'll also say comic book shops are great too, because go in and when you're buying comics, ask the people for recommendations. These people love comics. They can give you great recommendations. It's a great way to find out about more comics. And also, I love just like browsing through comic book shops, finding a comic that looks interesting and buying it kind of just by the cover.
Yep.
Right? Like, I think that's something that I guess you can do that on Amazon, but I don't think Amazon lends itself to that because you can't pick up the book, flip through it a little, look at the art style, kind of like get yourself sucked in by one beautiful splash and be like, okay, I need to read all of this.
Yeah. And also keep in mind that, like, I know a lot of people are intimidated by comic shops. It's so few of them anymore are like the nerdy dungeons.
Yeah, like the one in that one Sandman issue.
Yeah. And so many of them are just set up like really nice bookstores now, and have always the nicest, chillest people that I've ever met work at comic shops. Also, big shout out to Silver Snail in Toronto. They are great, and they do the best Halloween party every year. I've literally traveled back to Toronto to go to their Halloween party. It's fantastic.
There was actually a Silver Snail in Ottawa for a long time, and then it closed, which made me sad. Also, if we're shouting out comic shops, so my sister used to work at Strange Adventures in Halifax. So if you're ever in Halifax, go to Strange Adventures. It's an amazing comic shop, and it's a big reason I'm into comics because my sister was the one that got me into comics.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's comic shops in America too. We just won't talk about them.
Oh, well, you mentioned the St. Louis one.
Well, I'll take it. Just go to St. Louis if you want comics here.
Technically America.
Number 5, important. Who would win in a fight, the Hulk or Rorschach? This seems like...
The Hulk.
Yeah, this seems like a no-brainer. I love Rorschach to death. It's the Hulk.
Yeah, okay, good. Now we can move along.
Yeah. If a member of the Saga creative team were on the run from the authorities, might he or she be able to crash on your couch for a bit?
Always, without a doubt.
I already have the fan fiction written, so yes. I've lived through this many times in my head. 7, what is the worst recreational drug?
What is the worst?
The worst recreational drug.
Probably crystal meth.
Yeah, that's so weird to think of that as recreational, but I guess that is why people do that. I mean, the first thing that popped into my mind is Coke, just because it's like there are so many things that aren't as crazy as go do some Adderall or Molly. Actually, no, I'm kidding. Don't do drugs. Don't do drugs, everyone. But don't do Coke. But you know what? Meth is probably a solid bet.
Cocaine does turn people into assholes, though. So
yeah,
that's also
very
a good.
Happy assholes.
All right. Let's not ruminate on this too much. My parents listen to this. Actually, I don't think they do, but you know, someone's parents do, and they're disappointed in me either way.
Why? Oh, that's who I'm dedicating this episode to, by the way, is Noah's parents, and the fact that he didn't dedicate the episode to you is just, I think, really disappointing. This is a good one. Number 8. Why won't more people accept the fact that Haywire is Steven Soderbergh's very best film?
Because I've never seen Haywire.
Oh, you're missing out, dude. Great cast. I mean, I'm still gonna come on. Ocean's 11 is a masterpiece, but Haywire, go check it out. It's a good one. It was John Wick before John Wick. That's all I'll say about it.
Oh, I saw John Wick for the first time the other day. It's great.
Oh, yeah, it is fantastic. The second one is like just top tier. Great shit. So number 9, what is your second greatest regret in life? Giving up on those piano lessons? ?
Actually, kind of.
Yeah, actually, I still can't read music, so that seems like a thing I should have learned.
I think actually this actually goes back to an earlier thing we mentioned, letting my Mandarin slip. I used to be pretty good at Mandarin, and now I'm garbage at it, and that is, I guess, my second biggest regret. My biggest regret is not starting a Saga podcast sooner.
My second biggest regret is the words, "Hey, I can handle editing the podcast." It's not an issue. I've been living that life ever since. Number 10, seriously, what is wrong with my eye? Some reference here. Apparently something happened to his eye that he had to wear an eye patch, and he included a very gorgeous picture of it. And so what's wrong with Frank K. Vaughn's eye?
Pink eye.
That's it. We figured it out. Good old poop eye. What is the only truly excellent Mexican restaurant in New York City?
No idea. Never been to New York.
Don't worry, I have you covered. Chi-Chi's.
Okay.
Number 12. Ian O. This one. you know what? I'm gonna say content warning on this one because it's a bummer. It's not explicit, but it's a bummer. But actually, I was surprised by the response to it too, because in a later issue he goes over some of the interesting responses. Number 12, Ian Fleming once wrote that James Bond liked sex best when it had, quote, the sweet tang of rape. Does this?
That's going to be a yikes from me, dog.
Does this change the way you feel about the character and or life on this planet?
I mean, the thing is, it doesn't really change the way I feel about the character because that was already incredibly evident.
Yeah, which I will spoil the future the summaries on the responses. A lot of women said they understood that. And I'll leave that to women to understand it.
I'm not gonna unpack any of this right now.
Yeah, I'm good on that front. So I'm just gonna say a big old
let's
yes
plow
to
along to the next
13. If you had to permanently give up either chocolate or cheese in each of their infinite varieties, which would you choose?
Chocolate, 100%.
Yeah, chocolate.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like chocolate is just not necessary to great meals. It's nice.
Yeah. And you can do...
But I need that cheese.
You can do so many, like, chocolate. If you're craving something sweet, there's so many different things that you can go for. Nothing will sate a craving for a good cheese.
Yeah.
While we're shouting out local shops, I live near Les Amis du Fromage.
Oh, are we still doing that?
Which is in Vancouver. It's the best charcuterie shop I've ever been in my life.
Okay. I didn't know there were charcuterie shops.
Support your local cheese shop.
By the way, I just said earlier, don't support Amazon. I go to Whole Foods. 14. When was the last time you watched a stage play and what was it?
Oh, so this would have been a few years back, sadly. I don't go to enough. But it was called The Butcher, and it was phenomenal. It was really, really good.
Oh, cool. Where was that?
It was put on by the Great Canadian Theatre Company in Hintonburg, my old hood.
Oh, nice.
I'm looking it up. It's I think it's a Canadian play, but it is just
the Canadian play.
Just like this super, really intense kind of drama where the plot is it's Christmas Eve in a police station and some guy who doesn't speak any English is dropped off at the police station with a butcher's hook around his neck. And you kind of there's all this tension and mystery as you figure out who this man is. And it's
I like it.
Really cool. I won't spoil anything.
Rad. Mine was Getting Odd, which was a friend of mine wrote and starred in a play in Toronto in 2017. So it's been a couple years.
You say Toronto wrong.
Trana. the old T dot. Oh God.
The 6
running through it.
So this play you saw.
This play, I mean, it was fantastic. Go check out Getting Odd. Somehow, I don't know if there will ever be another production of it, but it was fantastic. But I will say, I created a video, my first video. It's why I made my channel about the play Hamilton. It's had a good, I don't know, few 100,000 views on it. Just unanimous acclaim. Everyone, I get comments almost daily saying it's the best video they've ever seen. People cry during it. It's changed their life. Hey, guess who's never been given tickets to Hamilton? Lynn. Hey, Lynn, I know you're listening.
Here's what I'll say to Lynn. Hadestown is better than Hamilton. Fight me.
I'll cut your fucking throat right now. I swear to God. Oh boy, don't. Next question. 15. What do you think I'm sorry. I'm just so angry about this. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to engage. Positive podcast. Hey,
we can ham this out as a bonus episode someday.
Nope. We're going to do it in a fucking pit with a couple of sharp sticks is how we're going to deal with this one. 15, for the love of God. What do you think image publisher Eric Stevenson's darkest secret really is?
That he doesn't like pizza.
Oh, fuck. That would be very upsetting, actually.
That's some twisted shit.
I think that he thinks Hadestown is better than Hamilton, and he's a piece of shit for
That's
it.
That's
and
not
he's
a
so
dark.
wrong.
It's just well
so
established.
Wrong. Oh my gosh, get him. He'd lose the goddamn company. Hey, 16. Which of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is most assuredly an atheist? There seems like an answer to this one.
Leonardo.
What? Why Leonardo? Where are we going with Leonardo?
Because Leonardo, the dude, was assuredly an atheist.
And we all know how much Mikey resembles the life of Michelangelo. It's fucking Donatello. He's the tech nerd.
Oh, that's true. I don't actually know their personalities that well. I haven't watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles since I was, or read any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles since I was like 11.
Well, there's the orange surfer pizza one. There's the moody, broody purple pizza one. Oh wait, no, moody broody is red. Leader of the group is blue. The good boy, the Boy Scout, and the pizza one. And then we got the classic Donatello. I always liked Donatello because he had a bow staff. 17.
Which one is Corey Feldman?
All of them in my heart. 17. I have no clue. I do not recall any of that.
Donatello is Corey Feldman, apparently.
Oh, well, that explains it all. Classic.
In the 1990 live action adaptation.
I did not know that.
Which I grew up on.
Donnie all the way. 17. Have we dated? I'm going to say not yet, but I'm holding out.
Yeah, that'll be a soft no from me.
18. Would you rather be trapped on the island from Lost with your mom or dad, and why?
Oh, definitely with my dad. My dad and I are both very chill people and mesh, and I love my mother too. My mother's wonderful, but she would also say that if we were trapped together, we would kill each other.
I'm just gonna go with neither of mine. Like, my mom's knee is shot and she'd be eaten by a smoke monster. Oh, you know what? Actually, this just got interesting because my dad has early dementia, and I was like, that's got to be bad for survival. But then also, I feel like bringing him to the island on Lost would somehow cure him through magic powers. So
this is true. Yeah, like John Locke.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't believe they fucking named a character John Locke.
we got literally Desmond Hume, John Locke. Oh boy. Yeah, we get it. You were a fucking freshman in college. 19. When was the last?
Come on, J.J. Abrams.
What's that?
I said, come on, J.J. Abrams.
Okay.
Re-lost J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, no, I got it. Thanks for chiming in with that one 20 seconds late. 19, number 19. When was the last time you were naked in front of someone in a non-sexual context? This I need to know. I'm gonna say for me, probably today.
Yeah, I don't generally wear clothes around the house, and it's not always like sexual.
This is
when me and my fiance are just hanging out in the nude.
Yeah, this is just a long-term relationship thing. That's
yeah,
it's just pragmatic.
Yeah, so that also I don't wear clothes to sleep because what kind of a monster would submit themselves to that?
You ready for a big bombshell here? I wear socks when I sleep. I'm one of those freaks.
You're a fucking serial killer. That's a weirdly personal question.
20. Are you Banksy? And if so, can we do anything to help?
Yes.
Okay, we figured it out. I did draw the horns and the wings on the logo, so I could be.
I feel like that's a very that dates Saga a little bit, which is not a rare thing, which is not a common thing that happens.
Yeah. This is that's one of the most fascinating parts of going through this back matter is seeing what he's watching on TV and stuff. There's a lot of Mad Men references in these.
Oh, I'm watching Mad Men for the first time, so.
Dude, same. I finally got to because I had watched up through season 5 and then didn't have a way to watch it anymore. Finally been rewatching it. I got up to the end of season 5 and I'm broken. So
I have not gotten that far. So
brace yourself. Who had a greater impact on your upbringing? Your favorite librarian or your favorite coach?
My favorite coach.
Oh, really? Well, was it hockey?
Yeah. It's my dad.
That doesn't count. Come on.
Well, then also another hockey coach.
Okay, well, you found the fucking loophole, I guess. Well, I'm going with librarian. The librarian at the Carrollton Library. I don't know what the name of it was. Hey, what are you working on these days? Anything creative?
Nothing. I've never done anything creative in my life.
That adds up. I was gonna say that.
So, no, I'm working on polyphonic stuff, obviously. When is this coming out Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday on the Patreon.
The next polyphonic video will be Eminence Front by The Who,
Ooh.
which is actually a song about why you shouldn't do cocaine.
Hey, my kind of song.
And then right now the video I'm actually working on right now, because I have a backlog that everyone hates me for. I'm working on a video about Time Out, Dave Brubeck's seminal jazz album.
Oh, nice. I love it. Yeah, I'm doing, I'm doing this. I'm doing the podcast on the Patreon. I got an O Comely video, Neutral Muck Hotel song, coming out pretty soon. And you know what? Steven Universe, because everything I do is research. So look forward to all that junk. And a comic. I'm doing a comic in the future that I cannot talk about.
Yeah, do you have any creative endeavors you're working on that aren't part of the hustle?
Here's the thing is that I just put the name Make Stuff on everything that I do, and then it seems more important, even though it's just nonsense podcasts and everything. So it's all pretty much everything I do is part of the hustle, and nothing I do is part of the hustle. It's all Schrodinger's hustle at this point.
That's definitely not going to catch up to your mental health later.
Oh, no. If you do what you love, then you work every day of your life. Number 23. Wait, why did you abandon it? Don't try to. You can't catch me with that shit. We're always working, man. 24, relax. I'm sure it's great. Listen, why not put down this comic and do a little work on that thing right now? Okay, great. Let's stop.
I came out to have a good time, and honestly, I'm feeling really attacked right now.
Okay, last question here. Cool, but before you do, if you were to be reincarnated as an inanimate object, what would it be?
Like, is this what I would want it to be or what I would be?
Ooh, what would it, if you were, I'm going to say whichever one you're feeling.
Let's just say a vinyl record of Bob Dylan's Blonde on Blonde.
Good. I'd probably go with Blood on the Tracks, but all right, I'll take it. Actually, you know what? I just listened to that again. I think Blonde on Blonde might be on top for me right now. Fascinating stuff coming from me. So, you know what? I just remembered that I was at Mount Rushmore and I saw this thing of like Teddy Roosevelt or someone, it was FDR talking about like how in 2,000 years, through all the storms and weathering and everything, Mount Rushmore will have lost a quarter of an inch of stone. And so, I'm just going to be Mount Rushmore, I think. And that'll last forever. And people will gaze upon me.
That's
in all my majesty.
And you'll be an eternal monument to colonialism.
Yeah, baby. It's the most American shit I could do. And that's our survey. So go ahead and write all that down and submit it to the 2012 Saga Reader Survey. And I'm sure we'll make it in the comic.
I feel like we should write a podcast listener survey at some point.
Oh, that sounds good. That's what we're doing every week. So
yeah, I was gonna say, I guess that's kind of the But
we should ask people
we should try
more
to channel.
questions.
Yeah, we should ask people like weird questions like Brian K. Vaughan did.
Because all of our questions have been so normal. Like, what sex room do you want to go fuck in Sextillion? That's a classic, just run of the mill.
Well, they're all Saga related.
That's generous. All right, so you know what? And also, I will touch on some of the other survey results that I found interesting. Average age 27. I'm just a normal dude,
Yeah.
I'm doing this podcast with this youngster.
Yeah, you're right in that demographic.
So yeah.
Except the average age was 27 when the first issue came out. I bet you that's skewed.
So now the average age is a good 30. I don't know math. This one really upset me, and I'm just really bummed out about it. 50-50 on the chocolate versus cheese.
That's a failure.
I don't understand people anymore.
That's a failure.
I don't know. I guess vegans.
That's just people not thinking about it. That's people like being like, oh well, I really like chocolate, and not thinking that without cheese you can't have pizza.
These fuckers didn't put in the time.
Yeah.
They didn't put in the brain work.
You can't have mozzarella sticks. You can't have a cheeseburger.
Yeah, fucking cheeseburger. You can't have Ritz crackers. Come on, man.
You can't have a warm ham and cheese croissant on a cool October morning.
You can't have a cheese. Did you think about that? You can't even have cheese.
You can't have a Gruyere cage-aged 9 months and double smoked.
I was gonna say Lunchable, but also that. All right.
You can't have a grilled cheese sandwich with Havarti and Swiss on sourdough with crispy bacon in the middle and a sprinkling of garlic.
I was just trying to figure out a way to artificially lengthen this episode even more. And I'm really glad we nailed it by naming all cheese. Okay, and yeah, people said worst drug meth. I'm gonna stick by my Coke on that one from personal experience. And that's about the gist of the responses that were interesting. But yeah, I think I can conclusively say we did the best survey. We were the most interesting ones. So yeah, other stuff that was interesting really quick from the back matter. Number one was seeing the people write in upset about issue 1 and not liking Saga. And which is so mind-boggling.
I just like how you can release one thing and people are already upset about it. Upset enough to write a letter, like
yeah. And you know what? This is if you had to guess what the thing in the first issue that the most people were upset about, what would you guess it was? Because it's hilarious to me.
Watching somebody give birth.
The ATM. The reference to the ATM, and they say, "Oh, this is sci-fi. This is supposed to be fantasy, and you have ATMs and apps and none
buddy,
of it makes sense."
Buddy, you're in for a trip.
Yeah, and it's like I that's something that, like, you know, I always have to remind myself, like, there are people that fucking hate Casablanca and stuff. Like, there, anything that you love and think is perfect, there are so many people out there that hate it for the exact same reasons that you love it. So let this be a lesson.
Sick, twisted people who think Hadestown is better than Hamilton out there.
There's you know, some people are redeemable, some people are beyond saving, like that, and you know, they're just pieces of shit out there. This is the only thing I'll ever be sincerely upset about with you. So what else? We had he posted Fiona's response to the Stalk's death. I keep trying to say the L in Stalk.
The Stalk.
It's so hard. Talking is hard. The Stalk's death. Fiona's response was just a frowny emoji when writing the script for the first time. And if worth noting, I heard this in an interview. It wasn't from the back matter, but Brian K. Vaughan did say that, or it might have been Fiona Staples that said that she likes to read the issue right before, like, the script right before she draws the issue. So, like, she doesn't know what happens. Like, she doesn't know how it ends or anything like that. She doesn't know anything about the upcoming story. She's finding out, like, not that long before we find out, just so that she can, like, sort of channel the emotions in the emotional response she has to the story into the art itself. So she's not that far behind on the story than us.
That's super cool. That's really, really interesting.
What else? There's a reader named Dickon, which I guess is actually a real name. That's not just a Game of Thrones thing. So that's worth noting.
He didn't say anything or anything. You just wanted to note this reader's name.
I literally just wanted to point out that there is someone named Dickon, and that's a real name. And I sincerely think that's going to be news for a lot of the people
getting
listening.
mad at me for lengthening this episode.
This is and I tried to make it fast. I was like I'm gonna throw in this really quick, actually interesting piece of trivia, because I can promise you we don't do questions of the week on these episodes, but that's my comment prompt of the week. Write in if you were actually surprised that there are people actually named Dick on and it wasn't just a Game of Thrones thing. So
You're the worst.
Also, I want to point out, something that I thought was so cool. It was something that a reader sent in that he wrote about. Someone sent in a homemade anti-wreath propaganda children's board game called Mooney's Out.
What?
Yeah, they made
Can
a
we
board
get
game.
this person on the podcast? Can we play this board game?
Reed Beebe.
Reed Beebe.
ReedBeebe.
If you are Reed Beebe or you know Reed Beebe, please put us in touch. I will fly down to St. Louis and Jonathan and I can play this game together.
That will be our first video podcast.
That'll be
us playing Mooney's Out.
First time we meet each other.
And apparently it even has hilariously quote unquote racist instructions on the back.
Oh my
god. In reference to the Moonies. It sounds so great and I need to play this.
This is amazing.
So that is by far the coolest sent in object that I saw in the back matter for the first arc. Also Brian said that if the book didn't find an audience, he told Fiona that they would just blow up the rocket ship tree when they got into it. Make it just a super depressing and dark ending to the book right at the end of the first arc, right on the launch pad. And so that would have been in another world. I can't imagine a world in which Saga didn't have an audience, but in that world, that's how it would have ended. That
would have been so disappointing.
Yeah. Oh, and also worth noting, he says that he does have an ending in mind for the book. Like he knows where this is going, which is crazy because it's not especially like a setup and payoff heavy book. It's very serialized and just it seems it's the definition of an ongoing.
If it ends with them piling into the rocket ship tree again and it blowing up, I'm gonna be so pissed off.
That's his escape pod for every arc. Yeah. It's just he can do it anytime he wants. But yeah, so that's reinforced a lot throughout. Like I remember reading a lot in the back matters how he's like, I've been dreading getting to this moment and stuff like that. So yeah, he knows where this is going. There is a direction for this book. I think a lot of people, I've actually seen a few comments that people say that they wish there were more conclusions in the book, which I guess it's just not something that's normally done in media anymore. And it's one of the great things about comics that is so hard to do in TV and stuff like that. So yeah, have that to look forward to.
Cool.
Also just worth noting that it was a massive success before it even went into trade paperbacks, and it's interesting to see like in these first 6 issues him talking about how huge it is, and this is before like it was massive. Yeah. Because once those trades came out and it was like on the New York Times bestseller, like I said an episode or 2 ago, that I go into my comic shop and it's still this first book is number 2 in their bestsellers. Like it's still huge. So it's so interesting to see just in comics terms, it was already a big hit, and it's just like it's just in the fucking stratosphere at this point. And then last thing I'll leave it with is that there are people whining, a lot of people whining about Sextillion. I don't want to say whining but there are people who had a lot of issues with Sextillion and the graphic sex and thinking it was too much. And
my issue with Sextillion is that there wasn't enough. It was too tame. Right?
It's all these things that I take for granted now. And it's just like, yeah, that's Saga. But back then, people experiencing it for the first time, it's just like, it just cracks me up to see that people have issues with like, there's too many real world things and there's too much sex, and it's Saga, man. You get with it. But that is our back matters for this arc. A lot of fascinating stuff. I'd recommend picking up those first issues somehow miraculously, dropping a few $100. And that leads us right into our mailbag. You pumped for this one, Noah?
Oh, I'm very excited. I'm I'm actually thrilled that people are enjoying this and listening to us and having thoughts and stuff. Like, I mean, I feel like I'm sarcastic a lot, but this is like, I'm genuinely excited to hear what everyone has to say about this stuff.
Dude, it has been sincerely humbling. I went through and put all of the question of the week responses and interesting comments and stuff into one Google Doc. In that Google Doc, this is just we're only covering the first 4 episodes because that's what's like out for the most part right now. And it is a 14-page Google Doc. So we're not gonna be able to go over everything. We'll probably mention just about everyone who commented or put a response just because people left multiple ones. But boy, there's a lot of response.
But also, if we don't mention you, sorry. Keep messaging. We'll mention you. We'll try to mention you in the next one.
I will say, I can sincerely say we didn't get a single like asshole response to any of these. I found every response like enlightening and interesting, and just seeing even like, you know, even if it's a majority, like everyone saying the same thing, it's still fascinating to me and I love it. So thank you for responding. Keep doing that. But first we have the mailbag, which is people who emailed us. So let's dig into our mailbag. Play that mailbag theme music for me. Beautiful, wonderful. Love it to death.
Oh, great song.
Just that I heard with my ears.
Straight banger.
And we got an email from Mike Smith who has a request that
is this the same Mike Smith who is the goalie of the Edmonton Oilers?
I mean, you asked the right person, and I can definitively say yes.
Okay.
So the goalie of the Edmonton Oilers. You know, that literally the last words I heard come out of your mouth. Wrote in and has a request that we pick a song for each, like we suggest a song to listen to for each issue, which is I'm gonna say this is a polyphonic fan, but it's
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I like it, and if we remember it, we will do it.
Yeah. Yep. And I think for this shit show of an episode, you should listen to Revolution 9 by the Beatles.
I'm gonna say, what's their one song? The Within You, Without You. Is that?
Yeah, Within You, Without You.
I'm gonna suggest the Phil Collins cover from the end of his first solo album of that.
Wait, Phil Collins covered Within You, Without You?
Listen to this, Noah. His very first solo album. This seems like
the worst fucking thing ever.
His very first solo album. He opens it in the Air Tonight. Fucking crazy ass way to open an album. Which, by the way, is a great response to your
Oh no,
question.
He covered Tomorrow Never Knows.
Huh?
Apparently, he covered Tomorrow Never Knows, not Within You, Without You.
I could have sworn it was Within You, Without You.
I mean, they're similar songs.
Is that's off his first album?
Yeah.
All right.
Face Value.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that one. But so in his solo album, he's like, I'm gonna make a big impact. He fucking closes with a fucking Beatles cover at the end of the goddamn album, and he's just like, this is how fucking sure I am of myself. I'm gonna close with some Beatles. And go listen to that album. It's a classic. So that's my suggestion for the week. And that's the end of the mailbag. That's the only email we got. So thank you. Go ahead and play that theme music again. Perfect. All right. And now everything else. We rarely boost the email account, so that's not a big surprise. It's mostly comments and tweets. So that's how, if you want to, the most assured way to get a hold of us is via YouTube comments and tweets at the official Twitter account at MakeStuff and youtube.com/MakeStuff. Let's burn through some questions.
You can also
really
tweet
quick.
at me at Watch Polyphonic if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, yeah, no, then you can tweet at me too. And actually, I think
said at Make Stuff.
We both. Oh, did I say Make Stuff? Fuck.
Yeah, you said Make Stuff.
I'm on fucking island time here in Ohio. All right, I'm so far gone right now. I've been enjoying that. I've just been listening to Phil Collins solo albums, getting real deep into that cocaine pile. So we from episode 0, the intro episode, we had 3 whole questions. First question was, what do you love about Saga? And we got so many good responses to this. A lot about the character building, a lot about the world building, a lot about it being a family. The hat-eating Cthulhu goat says that it really literally changed his life. He got into it around the time he got dumped for the first time, 16 years old, still kind of an ass in that way to kids just are just like really the literal truckloads of empathy Saga treats all of its characters with just made me reconsider the way I treat other people, that is the definition of why I love art in general and storytelling. So that's great. Hat eating Cthulhu goat.
And I think kind of going on with the empathy, Kali the Destroyer said one of the things they love about Saga is how they made a trans person fully dimensional as a character. And that's the same thing, treating all of your characters with empathy. All of the characters are complex. And I think this is a ton of people have kind of gone and like I think this is what really sticks out is every one of these characters is a complex, motivated being, and that's what a lot of these comments are saying.
And surprisingly, a lot of people who said they don't know yet because this is their introduction to Saga, which is awesome.
Oh, I'm excited. Also, can I just say Caleb Brown, what does he love about Saga? I feel like you'll do a better reading of this one.
Let me track it down. And
is it the tweets in the end?
Yeah. What does Caleb Brown love about Bowen? Love about
Bowen.
I have no idea. Love about Saga. Everything.
Yep.
which is exactly that is the same response. And so a lot of great responses, a lot of very heartfelt stuff. People have such a strong connection to this book. So I'm glad we get to make
what nerds
fucking poop jokes about it and talk about Phil Collins instead. Question number 2, what got you into Saga into the first place, which I am infinitely fascinated by. And so many of the responses are the just randomly found the trade paperback or got suggested the trade paperback. I don't know if I saw anyone that said they were with it with the first issue. It sold out like crazy, so that's not a huge surprise.
I've seen like a lot of people, like a couple people said that they got it just from looking at the cover.
Yeah.
And another common thread was people hearing it was really good. Mm-hmm. And another good one is people being recommended at their local comic store or at Comic-Con booths or things like that. Yeah. And I think that kind of speaks to like how you really should go out and try to engage with the community a little bit because you'll find new comics that'll change your life.
And I don't know why I'm having trouble tracking it down. I might have misarranged this, but I know someone said that they were sold on the cover and just seeing that it was a multiracial couple on the front of the cover, and that's what sold them on it, which is great. There's a lot of great representation in this book. It's just the best. It's a good book, and I'm glad y'all found it. And again, there are people who found it through this podcast, which is amazing, and we are responsible for Saga's success. So
you're welcome, Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. Image, I'll be expecting my check in the mail.
Question number 3, classic. I feel like you can always catch the classic Noah questions. Why are you listening to this dumb podcast? And the resounding answer was because it is on hiatus. That we are a year into this hiatus where we have not gotten any new Saga. We still don't know when it's coming back as of this recording.
I also think the other big answer is because Saga is amazing. Yeah. Which is why we're making this podcast. So I think that.
Mm-hmm. I was sincerely surprised that I thought a lot of it was going to be because I'm cocky and narcissistic. I thought a lot of it was going to be, because I love make stuff or I love polyphonic and I'm going to give this new thing a shot. But it is so crazy to see that like there are so many people that listen to this podcast that have never heard of us before and are just listening to it because they love Saga, which is fantastic. But there was a good amount of people, like here, someone said, again, Had Eating Cthulhu Goat says, I've been watching and loving both of you guys for a while now. Obviously, Saga is a thing I can't get enough of, so here I am. Someone else said, where's the... there's just a lot of people who are. I'm only gonna exclusively call out Had Eating Cthulhu Goat apparently, but there are a good chunk of people that are saying that, you know, just because. Oh well, here someone said I love your content, and that was at the Horns and Wings YouTube channel, but they're clearly talking about me, and I think we can all just agree on that. And then also, just the excuse to reread Saga.
Yeah.
And then, oh damn it, there's one person said polyphonic. Damn it.
Yes.
I'm gonna get such a fucking big head about this stuff. Working with such a goddamn diva. So yeah, but I'm so happy that, you know, and I'm gonna say again, go check out Polyphonic if you haven't. Everyone loves music. You'll find something to love there. He talks about everything. And go ahead and boost make stuff also, for me, Noah.
Also check out Horns and Wings. Oh wait.
Damn it. Question from episode 1 here. What was the thing/moment in issue 1 that first hooked you into Saga? Oh, actually, I think this is where we get the response that says it is the biracial. You know what? I will find it eventually, someday. But there are a lot of really interesting responses to this one.
I think these answers are really interesting too, because you could almost kind of like line them up and see like chronologically when in the issue. Like there's a significant people who say, I'm hooked from the first scene. Then there's people that say, like as soon as we saw the robots, or as soon as we saw the will, or things you can kind of just watch people getting hooked in their first issue.
You could honestly, just from the responses, I bet you could make a pretty competent graph showing like how far into the book, at what parts people were really latching onto it, because we got a good amount of responses. The Will's first scene says, oh my god, it's Had Eating Cthulhu Goat again. How do I keep it's those nice short responses. The idea that a planet is at war with its moon really sunk its hooks into me, says SPTV.
I like Emma Bartania saying at the end of the first issue when it's revealed that Hazel is the narrator, and I was like, well, now I gotta know how all this goes down. I think that was something that definitely, in hindsight, got me too. Like that made me be like, well, now I gotta fucking see what happens.
This is I love this response from Odd Amy, who says that being, in their words, an asexual prude, that they got a few pages in, saw a nipple, and bounced. but they went back to it, and the writing was just so good, and the characters are so fleshed out so early on in the world, so effortlessly established, that they could power through the sex and nudity. But it wasn't just one moment that hooked them. It was the whole story is a hook. And that's very much a case for me. But yeah, I thought that was very interesting.
I think if we were to sum it up, people would say the tension in the story and again, going back to the characters, a lot of people, Stephen Clark says it's got the relationship of this family completely down and it's instantly lovable, which is completely accurate.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm seeing so much of just the opening. I think it really was just that opening sequence up through the death of the grease monkey and the two sides shooting all around Alana and Marco and everything, that it's such a good cold open to this thing.
Yeah,
it's great. Let's go on to the question from episode 2, which I am fascinated by. And this one's pretty unanimous. It was who/what do you think the robot species sounds like? We got so many just posh British people almost
What do you
unanimous.
think my favorite answer is?
I'm gonna say the one that just says Noah.
Yeah, that is Sandra Swags. Sandra Swags. Thank you very much.
I really, please, if there's ever an adaptation of this, please just do a voiceover of it, because I would.
I will gladly do it. Yeah. I think British, a lot of people have, and some people say kind of robotic, but most people tend to say kind of more normal voice, which is what I always kind of think.
It kind of fluctuates between, like, there's some more, like, someone says, or Eloy says, for his voice, they imagine it to be super digitized, metallic, and higher pitch. Sounds like the robot's even Wally, which I thought was interesting. And
yeah, I think that's interesting, especially because like a lot of that's kind of the more extreme than a lot of people, right?
Someone said a subtly automated tone of HAL 9000 with a British accent. And then, yeah, there's a good chunk of people saying just normal British voice. I kind of like the idea of it just being like almost like it's run through some kind of automated, like even in the auto tuning things just slightly.
I like what SPTV says, which is they hear the voice of K2SO, Alan Tudyk, which I don't necessarily hear Alan Tudyk's voice, but the post-processing that's done to that voice, where it's, and really to a lot of the robots in Star Wars, where they're like human but a little tinny.
Yeah, honestly, just the equivalent of what they do in the comic, where the font is just slightly more robotic. And again, that's just the effect that lettering has had on my reading the book. And also, can I just point out, Alan Tudyk also did the robot in iRobot, so he's just a robot all the time.
Oh yeah. Also, big ups to Jennifer Mowerman, who said 4 sounds like Stannis Baratheon, uptight, proper with a violent streak. I like that. Stannis the Manus.
I feel like that is probably the closest in my mind to what I think Prince Robot sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then some Ex Machina stuff. A lot of Paul Bettany. I think people associate it now with Vision and stuff. A bit of
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, Daniel Matarrita Campos says Benedict Cumberbatch. That's I think it's everyone says British. I think that's pretty obvious.
I think the aristocracy speaks to that.
Yeah.
All right.
And then let's go on to episode 3. Our question was, up to this point, only looking at issues 1 through 3, who's your favorite character? And we got
everyone.
Yeah. It really is such a wide. I don't even know. I should have seen if there was like, I think it might be between Marco. I don't know if there's at all like a front runner here, because I'm seeing.
Yeah, we've got a lot of Isabels. A lot of Lion Cats, a lot of Marcos. Surprisingly few Alanas, but still some Alanas. Rita Killer 07 says Alana by far.
I see Alana as a runner-up for a few of them.
Yeah. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Krista Cashin says Alana and Isabel.
Yeah. I think the big 3 are Lion Cat, The Will, and Isabel. No love for Spider Bay.
Yeah. Marco's a very strong choice with all these. But yeah, it is bizarrely even. It's not like, I feel like if you watch the first 3 episodes of like Game of Thrones, I think most people are probably gonna say like Tyrion or Ned Stark and
Joffrey.
It's so fascinating to see that it's such a wide cast of characters, and people just seem to respond to all of them. It speaks to
the strength of the ensemble.
Yeah, exactly. I love this next question, which is, if you are a freelancer, what would your name be? I kind of just want to go through all of these.
So Lorian says The Truth, which I love. I absolutely love The Truth.
That's a badass one.
Yeah. Or also The Dude for the giggles.
Yep. Caleb Bowen says the, but the second is pronounced the stupid way. Which is the stupid way? Is the or the? I'm gonna say the.
The te.
The te.
The te. DKL Chung says the end. Too obvious. I don't think that's obvious. I think that's like I can kind of picture the end as like a super harsh, terrifying badass. Kind of like the stock. Like the end comes and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah. No, and this is the connection that I didn't make until he responded, and it is that Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, every bad guy is like the fear and the end, and it's all of these, and like they totally have that same naming mechanic of the blank.
That's cool.
And so yeah, the end is actually one of my favorite boss fights of all time, and it's a good one. I approve of that one.
Huh.
And someone else said the
Yep.
And
I think my favorite might be Eric Grant's here. The Way.
I like it.
Oh, I love the will and the way.
That seems like such a. I feel like that might be one that Brian's keeping in his back pocket.
Yeah,
that seems like such a. Or wait, what was There's a character coming up. I'm trying to remember. Oh, okay, I got it. I was gonna say we meet a character who has some sort of relationship with the will, and I was trying to remember if we what their freelancer name was, and it's a good one. There is some good.
It's a good one.
There are some good freelancer names in this.
We get a lot of good freelancer names, and I love it.
Yeah. Gunslinger 199 says the boar. Kate B says the weirdo or something. I like it.
Krista says the cat mama, but are you allowed? I don't think you're allowed 2 words after.
I'm gonna say the will is already the cat mama.
Yeah,
that's my new nickname.
The will is my cat daddy. I'll have you know.
And Krista's backup is the simmer, and I really relate with these. SPTV says
I feel like I want like a pair up of like the simmer and the sizzle or something like that.
There needs to be more pairs with matching names. And SPTV says the sleep, which I appreciate.
But that's also like darkly heavy. Like I really dig the sleep as a badass name.
You're getting into Hamlet territory there.
Yeah.
Odd Amy says the scribble, because I'm a writer/artist and I'm one of the most frazzled human beings you will ever meet. I like that one.
And then Anne Denarin, another writer one, the script I like that a lot too.
K-Bay says the deadpan, which again I could see being a thing.
Yeah.
Quinchilla says the quick. Now we're getting into classic Sam Raimi film territory here. I'd be the dead. That would be my team up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The quick and the dead. And then Elaloy says, "The chosen one. You were the chosen one, Elaloy. I loved you.
You were supposed to bring balance.
You're supposed to bring balance to the saga, not."
That was a movie. And yeah, we got a lot of good ones on that one. I like all of those. And we have I'm sitting on a question that we will use at some point. That's going to be really good. And it's very similar to that. And I feel like I just want to make all my questions like, what would your blank be with every one of these?
Yeah.
So those are, and plus they're faster to get through. So we should do more of those. And now we are on to episode 4, which is the last one we're gonna cover, and that is, the first one is, what's your take on the will this far in? And I was fascinated by the diverse responses to this one. It's a lot of just on the fence. Like Caleb Bowen says, I kind of went down the middle. I didn't go Bowen, I didn't go Bowen, I went Bowen. Says bad guy with good intentions, which I think that's an interesting thing, because I've been watching, like I said, Mad Men, and I think the will is very similar to Don Draper in the, you can't tell whether he's a bad guy trying to be good or a good guy who does bad things. Yeah. And that is this is, and keep in mind, this is like right when the will just saved a girl from sex slavery, and so a lot of people at this point are very torn.
Yeah.
Oh, AC Ayers says, I was super happy that the will saved that girl, but at the same time, I was kind of skeptical that he would just dump her at a shelter or whatever that world has. So yeah. People are still very much on the fence about him, which I think is, I'm glad that people are being a bit more reserved despite him doing, like, he was ultimately the good guy in that. And we haven't seen him do anything especially evil yet. And you know, he, like, I think they established him so well, like his sort of neutralness in the first issue, where he's sad that he kills the giant beast, but he still kills it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, but I do feel like all these people that say they're on edge against the will make me really wonder about myself, because when I first read it, I just fucking loved the will. I was like all in. I knew he was an anti-hero or possibly a villain, but I was just all in on him right away.
Which, you know what, this is I find interesting. Kate B says, for now, as in the first 4 issues, I thought the will had the potential to be the greatest villain turn hero arc I've ever read. So he could very much go a Zuko route at this point. And again, I think that's what's so engaging about the will, is that it could go either way, and we don't know. And we'll find out.
All right. And then the second question we asked, because this was the issue where we got to know Sextillion, was which Sextillion room appealed most to you? And I have to say, this is only tangentially related, but SPTV's response to this, did anyone else read The Fishman with the voice of Danny DeVito? I didn't, but I do now.
Specifically, Danny DeVito as the main alien in Space Jam is how I see him from now on. But yeah, there's a lot of people love the angel fucking, the angel orgy.
Yeah. I have to disagree. Ellen Nix says flying during sex has to take it to a whole different level. I personally think that it would just complicate things a whole lot.
I saw this, I legitimately watched, I think it was on Netflix or something. There's this documentary talking about the problems with living in space. And one of them was, how do you fuck in space when just the act of doing that pushes each other away from each other? And so they're talking about all these, like, these body harnesses that would need to, like, to bind people together to make it possible.
I feel like flying sex is one of those things where it's like shower sex, where you're like, oh, in theory, this would be really fun. But in reality, it never fucking works.
I also really want to point out that because my description of the fucking that was going on in that scene was fuck period ing period and a couple people accidentally linked to fuck.ing.
Oh my god.
And it is a domain that is up for sale, so if anyone wants to make the official Horns and Wings website, go to fuck.ing.
That'd be wonderful.
But yeah, I think one person
I mean, I feel like that's got to be worth money. That's a good domain.
Someone said during the pyramid. Oh, Kate B says probably the pyramid the will pass by, which is but I think just about everyone else said angel orgy.
Yep.
I like AC Ayers specifically says, I like when the will is walking down the stairs and all the girls are all over each other, and then heart face emoji and drooling emoji.
Yeah.
He's into it. So yeah, I've learned a lot about you, and you know, I'm gonna say y'all are a little bland with the obvious choice here. I wanted more of that like centipede woman with many breasts. Weird shit. But I guess angel fucking is just an obvious choice here.
Yeah, everyone's too vanilla for Sextillion.
And then really quick, I wanted to go through we got so many really good comments and questions in the comments that I just want to power through, lightning round a bit. Hattie Cthulhu Goat says, the way people talk about Saga IRL feels a lot about the way people talk about a nighttime smoke in the comic, which is very accurate. Our reference of this smut is very accurate. Dalton Allen asks, Paper Girls next? And this is something we've been talking about a lot.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. We're going to need to figure out something to do once we catch up with the book. it's either going to be us going down to an episode a month and then skip multiple months between arcs, and I don't especially want to do that, or us talking about other books. So we might talk about Paper Girls.
We've had some. I'm a big supporter of Paper Girls. We've also mentioned maybe Sandman.
Yeah.
I'd go for Sweet Tooth.
Yeah, it's going to be a question of whether we want to keep it in the Brian K. Vaughan
in the Brian K.
realm.
Vaughan, and if we do keep it in the Brian K. Vaughan, there's also Ex Machina.
Yes.
There's Y, obviously.
Got, like, his, Runaways. We got Swamp Thing. There's so many classics in there.
Yeah, but I think when I read Paper Girls, my immediate thought was, this is the best comic I've read since Saga. So
it's very good. It is just pure Brian K. Vaughan in that book.
Yeah, and I think tonally it's a good fit. So if I'm a betting man, I would say Paper Girls next.
Yeah.
But we'll see what the future brings us.
We could have a totally new comic out by then. That'd be crazy.
Yeah. Or we could just do a podcast about how good Hades Town is. You just want to get to the end. I could tell you're biting your tongue at not responding to that.
It's drained me. That is not the recording a podcast, but just your saying that emotionally drained me so thoroughly.
Just the heat of that take gave you heat stroke.
I'm just gonna have to sit you down and learn you good about some Hamilton, because you are just not there yet, my dude. You have yet to see the light.
If only someone did an extended video on Hamilton that I could
you
watch.
have no excuse. That's the problem.
I've watched that.
I've made the guide for you. You should know how great it is. All right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's get back into this.
Gunslinger 199 says, "Great podcast, guys. Very good analysis." And I just thought that was worth pointing out, because they're the only person to say that this is a great podcast. And you know what? I'm just nudging everyone else here. Just say great podcast, guys. Yeah. That's all I want.
And if you think that we're a great podcast, rate and review us on iTunes.
Yes, which doesn't exist anymore. Hey. Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, that's the one.
We're old. Someone, MJ Francis says, "I'm a huge fan of Make Stuff." I also thought that was very important to point out.
Okay.
We've gotten a lot of suggestions for this one. James Smells 123 says, a suggestion for talking / avoiding spoilers, to have a segment at the end of the episode where spoilers can be discussed. And I've been on the fence about this. I want to talk about the pros and cons really quick.
I think we can not necessarily have that every episode, but if there's some spoiler we need to discuss. Mm-hmm. But I also I've been really enjoying kind of re-experiencing these things as a reread, and remembering stuff that goes forward, but mostly living in the moment with it. Like imagining it's my first read through. And I think that's something that I really enjoy about the no spoilers approach.
Yeah. My main issues with the including spoilers, one, people put this on when they're hopping in the shower or they're doing dishes and their hands are wet, and I don't want people to dive for their phone, or just people put it on when they're trying to fall asleep, and it's making them have to skip a thing or stop a podcast, and then the podcast forever says unfinished in your app, and that sounds terrible. But also I think that a lot of people are dying for spoilers when it's not in their best interest. And I am worried about people who are experiencing going through the podcast or going through the book for the first time, and they think they want to hear spoilers, but it's taking away so much of this book is the surprise. So I'm very concerned about people who just are too sort of weak-willed to avoid the spoilers just listening to it. So I do like what you said about in very specific cases where it's important that we bring up spoilers, but also we'll eventually get to those issues too, and we will talk about those things inevitably. So I like the idea
unless something causes a rift in our friendship and working partnership, like say a different appreciations of different musical works or something like that.
Just off the top of the dome, just something like that.
But yeah, no, we fully intend to read all the way through. So I think that's a great point. We'll get to these spoilers and yeah.
So yeah, that is I if in extreme situations we might do that, but otherwise we'll get to it eventually.
Now here's some comments where I love you guys. I love you guys from listening. But man, the Lord is testing me on these ones. So we got several commenters that said that they read 4, as in Prince Robot 4, as IV. And just...
We're not going to shame anyone. We're not going to shame anyone. Everyone reads that is an associated thing. That is a thing that exists. Someone says literally like the medical IV.
There's a number of people that say it, so maybe I'm just the weirdo, but
I will say, like, I was the freak kid who always thought that Hermione in the books until I saw the movies was Hermione, which is, I think they make a cream for that, but I discovered Haley, behind the scenes collaborator on this, and
big shout out to Haley.
Big old shout out to Haley Rose Lyon, great last name. Also my wife.
Any relation?
I happen to be related to the only other Rose Lyon in existence, and she says that she also reads it as IV. And my response was, I guess I'll just start reading.
I want a divorce.
My response was, I guess I'll just start reading Alana as Alana from now on, if that's the cuckoo nuts world we're living in. No, but that was again very insightful to know that we went through all the ways to read it, and that's the one that just didn't occur to us as IV. So that's a thing. And you know what? Don't no shame. Just fascinating.
Weird. Our good friend Had Eating Cthulhu Goat asks, one chapter in that trades is one issue, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Each episode is one issue, and for those of you that don't know comics lingo or comics release cycles, basically what generally happens is there is one issue that is released once a month, and 6 issues generally consist of an arc. And once those 6 issues have been released, a few months after that, a trade back, which is all 6 issues combined in, usually they're called volumes. That's what a trade is. So when we're talking about that stuff, in case you don't know, that's that's the down low.
Yeah, and so in the books it says chapters, but when we say issues, that's what we're referring to.
Yeah,
because they're still split up the same way.
I would say so. Issues and chapters are interchangeable in our lingo, and trades, volumes, and arcs, I would say, are interchangeable. Though arcs can also mean other things. But
yeah, and those are the book that you got, or the collection of issues before the hiatuses they go on. And then
you have what's the official name for the big thick mommies that
Omnibus.
I've got? Yes, Omnibus.
Yeah. So those are multiple trades or volumes collected. And those usually go by volumes also. And now that we're done explaining the very basics of comics, let's go back to listing cheeses, because I think we really need to get back into that. And then we have Jay Bacani says,
so a sharp Emmental
says, please restrain yourself from listing all the goddamn cheeses. Also says, please restrain yourself from giving spoilers on succeeding issues or story arcs. That's what we're seeing. So we have people that appreciate it.
I hope we haven't given
a few times.
I hope we haven't given any spoilers. If we accidentally give a spoiler, please yell at us.
Yeah. Ain Denarin also, I just include this one because it made me happy because it shouts out one of your favorite videos. They say, I discovered Splendor and Misery through your video. And again, this all comes, you know what? Here, I'm going to go ahead and read this one in full. Also a neat little connection to Splendor and Misery. Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples said in an interview that they'd allow Saga to be adapted if it's for musical theater and done by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
I never said I don't like Lin-Manuel or that I don't like Hamilton.
And Clippings rapper Daveed Diggs was Lafayette / Jefferson in Hamilton. So if the Saga musical ever happens, there's a chance that Diggs will be in it.
Daveed Diggs has played a robot before, too, so there's that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Daveed Diggs as Prince Robot would be my absolute dream.
Prince Robot would need about, 10 times more dialogue, though.
I would, now I'm, fan casting Hamilton cast members as Saga characters in my head, and I'm obsessed with it. But I really love the idea of Daveed Diggs as Prince. I mean, I feel like he could pull off that lovable asshole that is Prince Robot.
Yeah,
very well. And of course we got George Washington as the Will. I could really get into this. I'm gonna avoid that, but you know what? I'm gonna say the creators of Saga themselves are with me. Fucking Hamilton, go fuck off. They have
never weighed in on Hadestown. Hadestown, the original album was the best album of the decade, except maybe To Pimp a Butterfly. But this is all irrelevant. We'll hash this out later.
Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there. Not gonna touch it anymore. Lin-Manuel Miranda is the Shakespeare of our time. Eric Gant, sorry, says that. I kind of envy folks who will discover this. I kind of envy folks who will discover this podcast in the future. They'll be able to binge it, and you know what? I kind of envy the folks who get to be in the future where they don't have to make all these episodes and get to just listen to them all completed. That sounds like a hell of a time.
I envy the folks when they finish it and they don't need to listen to us anymore.
River Romero points out that they noticed that some of the panels have their corners chopped off slightly to give their other panels some breathing room, which is something that you see a lot, which it just has just little corners of the channel or the panel chopped off, and it is such an interesting choice to me. I don't fully understand all of them, but I'm sure there's a reason. I don't know if it's for the page flow or for just the pacing or just how it appears on the full page, but that's just a cool little thing that happens.
Yeah.
And it's not something we especially talked about. But yeah, they pointed out that it makes the pages feel less cluttered, which makes sense. And I like it. SPTV says this was the first time I noticed that the stalk has a lance. The
stalk has every weapon.
the freelancer, you gotta have a lance.
Yeah.
Such good.
Maybe my freelancer name would be the Lance.
Mine would be the Bass, and we'd make a great duo. SPTV also says, also, where are you finding this music?
The great thing if you were the Bass is you could also pronounce it the bass and be like, hey, who are you having on the who do you have on your roster right now? Well, the bass hasn't done anything lately. We can drop the bass.
Oh God. It would actually be the BASS, obviously. SPTV says, where are you finding this music? All from Epidemic Sound, which is just great royalty-free music for YouTubers. I highly recommend it. It is very good for avoiding copyright problems. So go pay like $15 a month for that.
I know nothing about copyright problems.
No issues here. Well, now that they changed it, it'll never be an issue again because time cards. Timestamps.
This next comment is amazing.
This is
I want the honor of reading it.
As comment right here.
An unhappy capitalist, great, says, having your spine ripped out through your urethra is the good head. This
is in reference to the stalk saying she saw the horrors rip a man's spine out through his urethra. And that is the good head. I'm surprised we did not see that on. That's my sextillion room right there. My spine ripped out through my urethra. Boy, I'm glad I have that image in my head. Hat eating Cthulhu goat again. This one's actually fascinating, and I went and did some research. We will not spoil it, but Hat eating Cthulhu goat Saga super fan of the week says, "Guys, we do see Dragon Train again." And then I immediately remembered where we see Dragon Train again very, very far into the future in this book. And so we were like, this is a one-trick pony. We'll never see it again.
It's a two-trick pony.
It's a two-trick pony. So we love the Dragon Train, and it doesn't seem like setup or payoff or anything. It's just, oh, we have a Dragon Train. Why don't we use that? Yeah. Because it's the coolest shit. But yeah, prepare for that is the closest we'll get to a spoiler. Prepare for Dragon Train again to make an appearance. We should. So Ain Danarin again says, in the future, if you have to edit something in post, which I've done before, and I use a little bloodily loop sound, you should put in a lying in a growling, hissing sound as you imagine the voice of Lion Cat, and then me correcting myself. So if we could go ahead and just get a nice lying from you, exactly how you
lying.
Oh God,
lying. I don't know.
I'm putting that in the book. That's terrifying.
I don't know how to do this
fucking podcast.
I'm not a voice actor.
No, it was.
How's this? Hey, I'm Lion Cat. I'm walking here.
This asshole's lying again. Hey, I'm Lion Cat.
Hey, this asshole's lying. Hey, he's telling a lie about some salami.
Y'all hear? I don't even need to use my powers. This fucker's lying again. Jesus Christ! All right, we'll just put that in as a very just very casual transition to the post stuff. If anyone wants to make a compilation of those and make a song that we can use as more theme music, then we'll go ahead and use that.
Just make anything for us.
Otherwise, I don't want to give people fucking heart attacks when they hear Noah crawl from the depths of hell. to fucking truth emerging from her well to call out the lying bullshit. Oh God. I'm so sorry.
I'm lying here.
And then of course our final one, and then we'll be done.
And this is an important one.
Yeah, and this one I find so interesting because there's a bit of a twist to this now. K-Bay says, you guys keep referring to Lion Cat as he. The Will uses the pronoun she to refer to her. I don't think I caught that until rereading, so you're not alone. So this is what I find super interesting because we were in, I want to say, episode 4, referring to Lion Cat as he. But then after seeing this comment, I was editing a future episode and we call Lion Cat she. So we were just fucking dumb for an episode, and I don't know what happened, but that is apparently just a thing we did. So so that's corrected itself.
I deeply apologize to Lion Cat for misgendering you.
Yes, but also K here says that you guys keep referring to Lion Cat and just fucking gendered us there when I'm technically non-binary, but that's all right. Hey, I'll take it. I
think guys works okay as a non-gendered term.
Oh yeah. No. Go ahead and decide my pronouns for me. Thank you. And it's no biggie. You could call me what you want. But that is the end of our mailbag. That is the end of this episode for the most part. And
we've only been recording for 2 hours.
Yep, that's all. I got hour 43 here. This is gonna end up being a clean hour 30 by the time we're done.
I'm at an hour 43. Yeah.
So thank you so much for reaching out. We're gonna do different stuff for these in between episodes, but remember, they're never gonna be necessary to listen to. So if you want to skip all this bullshit, feel free. This is just to get to know us
recommend
better.
you skip this bullshit in the future.
Of course,
if it is half as tedious to listen to as it was to make.
we have some very important housekeeping here to do. Please go check out @WatchPolyphonic on Instagram. It's been so active recently. We really need to get the word out about that one. Just not enough people have. You know what I'm gonna say? If we don't hit a clean 500 followers on that, I have no idea how many followers are on that. If we don't hit that 500,
I have 336 followers.
We gotta hit that 500, or we can't keep doing this.
My last post was 39 weeks ago. 26 weeks ago, someone commented on that saying, "Post on here, boy."
Wow, late bloomer.
Yep.
Boy, so yeah, please, like, what are we doing this show for if we can't get @WatchPolyphonic on Instagram up to 500 followers? And that's the only thing I'm gonna signal boost.
Well, I'm gonna signal boost Polyphonic, the YouTube channel.
Oh God.
Because it needs a signal boost. Just kidding. I'm doing great. Go check out Make Stuff. He does better stuff than me, and less people watch it. He deserves your eyes. I don't. I'm trash. Go watch him. He makes a very bad argument about Hamilton. You should go check that out.
You know what? I was just about to go ahead. If you want to see why Hamilton is one of the greatest literary masterpieces of our time. And very few things have had as such thought and emotions put into them, and it's just a beautiful experience that will change your life. Go ahead and check out my video on it. skip the play itself.
Ooh.
It's that thing is like it's good, but my video on it, I think it really just reveals something about life in general that I think is very important. Hey, what videos of yours reveal something about life, Noah? Did you want to boost any of those?
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone reveals something about life.
Was it people making fun of Bob Dylan? Was that the one that revealed?
You wanna know something that reveals something about life? How about you watch "Wish You Were Here," which is a video about a band writing an album to cope with the loss of their friend to mental illness. Or how about my recent "The Summertime," the Great American Song, which tracks a song and how it relates to the sociocultural history of the United States. Or Dark Was the Night, Cold Was the Ground, which looks at why a single blues man song is soaring out through the eternities forever.
You know what? It just took me that long.
Or watch my video on Dewey Cox.
It just took me that long to realize you weren't just listing cheeses. Just now.
So, a smoked Gouda. Also, my shit doesn't reveal anything about life. If you're taking life lessons from my videos, take them from better places.
So yeah, just go check out all that
also,
stuff.
One shout out. I'm dropping a video in like 30 minutes from the time we're recording this. It's a video on this weird mystery album called L'amour by Lewis. If you watch that video, comment and be like, "Hey, I listened to this him talking about launching this video after later from the future." I don't know. Just let me know. I want to know if anyone that listens to this watches my stuff.
If someone says something about after later from the future in your video, you'll know. So go check out all that stuff. We just filled the whole week for you between the next episode. If you want to go listen to that next episode, I hope you've got a lot
of time to edit, because this is going to be a shit show.
Oh, don't worry. I'm on vacation, and this has to be out by the end of my vacation. So this is going to be a fun time. So I'm going to be dead. And thank you to Brian K. Vaughan, Fiona Staples, and Stephen Finch and Image Comics for making the best comic ever made. We're so sorry. We're sorry for this one.
This episode is even more of a shit show than the one I did drunk.
Which one did he do drunk? You decide. The eternal question. And of course, go check out I don't even have to boost the Instagram or Twitter, because if you want to show up in the next episode of these, which will go better, surely it will go better. It's just like that's not possible for it to do anything otherwise. Then go follow the Twitter, go comment on the videos, and we will almost definitely read one of your comments. So that's a fun time.
And thanks guys. Thanks for putting up with our bullshit.
Seriously, this is we talk shit about it a lot, but this is honestly the highlight of my week every dang time, and it's been such a blast. So thank you. And
there's something really elegant about saying we talk shit about it and then every dang week. Wouldn't want to swear.
Hey, well, you know what?
Every fucking gosh darn week.
I think that's a dumb thing to accuse me of. And also, am I pooping?
Am I pooping?
Am I pooping? Bye.
Keep shitting, guys.
Hey, I'm shitting here.
I'm shitting here.
Bye. I'm trying so hard to end it. Bye.
Oh my god, this is a train wreck. This is a dragon train wreck. Oh. Lying.